Happy New Year, Spirit Uncensored friends and family. I am excited to finally kick off our hashtag Best Day Ever movement. And just last night, somebody sent me a private message on Facebook asking me, how do we put into practice? She asked if she should be doing something differently than she is already doing. And what I said was, it really depended on how she lives her life already. If she is someone who wakes up in the morning with a conscious intention to enjoy her life, then she's already doing the work. But if she isn't, it may be something as simple as consciously having that choice at the beginning of the day. I can say for me, when I started using this theme of expecting each day to be the best day ever, what it meant for me at the time is my life was not working the way that I wanted it to. And so to focus on living my life as the best day ever when things are not going the way that I want to really helped me look for things to be grateful for, instead of spending my time and my effort and putting my attention on the things that weren't working in my life. For me at that time, I was putting my attention on the things that were working for me. And that really helped, I believe, allow those things that were not working for me to fall away and helped me create a life that actually does work for me. And I do believe that I'm currently living a life that works for me right now. And so my inspiration to launch this movement, to launch this Best Day Ever movement, was there's a couple of things associated with it. One is because Spirit Uncensored was really started accidentally. I was a practitioner minister at the Global Truth Center, and the Global Truth Center had moved to Westlake, and the community in Westlake just was not reflective of the community in North Hollywood. So not only was Westlake a good 30 miles up the 101, but on top of that, the Westlake community is very different than the North Hollywood community, and it just no longer felt like a good fit for me. And so I created this community to kind of give myself some spiritual food, which is really kind of counteractive for a minister. Usually ministers are trying to feed other people as opposed to receiving food. But I wanted to celebrate spirituality with people around me, the kind of people within my community that are interested in playing. I call Spirit Uncensored a spiritual playground. Hey, Preciosa. Preciosa is one of those people who play with me in the spiritual playground of Spirit Uncensored. And so I created Spirit Uncensored so that I can have a place to play as a minister, and that other ministers and practitioners like Preciosa have a place to play as well. And what happened is people showed up. People came looking for inspiration. People came looking for clarity. And I didn't really have that. I said, well, I got my clarity from the Centers for Spiritual Living, so you can take some classes over there. But Spirit Uncensored really needed to have a purpose, needed to have some sort of objective. And so I came up with one of the big questions that people asked was, what do we believe? And it was really important to me that with it being a spiritual playground, that it was also a very inclusive space, that regardless of people's faith traditions, regardless of whether they have a definition of God, whether they believe that God doesn't exist at all, whether they believe in the energy of life, or whether they are a devout Christian, Muslim, whatever, I wanted it to be a space where everyone can bring their own idea and definition of God to the table and play with each other and enjoy and express spirituality. And people really wanted more than that. They wanted to know, what do we believe? And so I thought, what qualities do I believe not only are universal to every religion and every non-religion, but also do I think would inspire positive change? Because my whole thing is being the change I wish to see in the world. So it's, what change do I wish to see in the world? What do I want people to know? How would I want to inspire people to live? And what came out of that were these three words: choice, faith, and gratitude. I think that if everyone recognized that they were at choice, that regardless of what is happening in our lives, that we can always make a new choice. Second, to have faith in those choices, to know that there is an unseen universal presence that supports us in those choices, however we define that universal unseen presence for us. Third, gratitude, just truly enjoying our day. And this concept of living each day as the best day ever was something that I was already doing in my life, something that was already working in my life. And I realized that I had an opportunity to really inspire other people to do the same, and recognize that best day ever is starting each day with an intention. It is making a choice. Also, obviously, gratitude is in there, and faith. that's the part that's a little tricky. And I'm going to be honest that in regards for me and my own relationship and my own definition of God, it has been very fluid throughout my life. When I grew up in a Jewish and a Christian household, and so I appreciate the fact that my parents never really pushed any one religion on me. We celebrated all holidays, and I got an opportunity to explore both faith traditions on my own. And when I was 8 years old, we moved to a neighborhood where there was a church on the corner, and I used to just play in the yard and smell the roses. And so because there's this little girl smelling roses in the yard, a minister came out and said, would you like to come in at some point? And it was one of those like super fun Lutheran ministers who played guitar and had children rallied around him playing these like "This Land Is Your Land" kind of children's songs. I had a wonderful time at this church. And so my mother would write me an offering check on Sundays, and I would go to church on Sundays. And when we moved from that neighborhood, basically my church stopped. I was a child. You know, it wasn't like I could just, if there was no church on the corner that had a minister that I liked, I didn't really have anywhere to go. And so around 16 years old, I started going to a church with a friend of mine. And that church, it was a Christian church. That church basically what was taught was that I had to accept Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And personally, that never resonated with me because not that I had any beef with Jesus at all whatsoever. I just felt like that other religions had some truth to it as well. And I did not want to limit myself to this one faith. I wanted to be a part of a faith tradition that where the studying and the gratitude and finding wisdom from all faiths was an option. And so that's how I found the Centers for Spiritual Living. It was that kind of space that I was looking for. And I found that when I was 28. I found it through a Google search. And so the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes' definition of God is both the physical definition of God, physical definition of energy, because energy itself cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. Energy is all there is. And so God itself is defined as the energy of life. It is all there is. Cannot be created or destroyed. We are energy. Everything that we are a part of is energy. The plants, every living thing is energy. And when a living thing dies, its energy is released into the universe. It goes someplace else. And so that scientific definition of God made sense for me. But the other piece of it was having faith in this energy, and that was the part that I did not get. And honestly, it's how I became a minister, because I didn't get it. I was going to my spiritual center. I was going to the Global Truth Center every single Sunday. I was taking classes, and I could not wrap my mind around what God is, how it operates, how it works. And I have come to this definition that is currently working for me. I do believe that energy, God itself, spirit, is infinite. And because there are infinite ways of spirit to express, there are infinite ways to define God. I believe that there is no one single definition of God. And I think that it's incumbent upon each one of us to find the definition that works for us. And to be honest, I have spent a lot of time identifying what definition of God works for me. And honestly, 2020 is how I developed that personal relationship with God. I committed to a daily meditation practice. It started with like 10 minutes, and now I meditate anywhere from a half an hour to an hour every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And that really helped me develop my own intimate personal connection and relationship with God. So spiritual practice is something that I am wholeheartedly recommending, that in living life with the intention of expecting it to be the best day ever, having your own dedicated spiritual practice is really helpful in identifying when you have faith in something, knowing your own definition of what you're having faith in. Being able to have faith in your own definition is so valuable. So choice, faith, and gratitude are the three qualities that Spirit Uncensored stands for. Hey, Valeria, appreciate you joining this as well. And I believe that this Best Day Ever movement that is starting today encompasses all three of these values of choice, faith, and gratitude. So I felt like Living each day is the best day ever is my personal ministry. This is the way that I have lived my life. I can teach and inspire and demonstrate to other people how to do the same. And over the course of this year, we are going to have lots of activities and events to help support you in this experience. One of those is I will be on Instagram Live every single day. It will not be any one time in particular. It's just going to depend on my day. I'm allowing myself to live in flow on this, but I'm going to get on Instagram and share about my journey of living each day as the best day ever. And I would love for you all to share your journey as well in the comments. If you would post on Instagram using the hashtag best day ever movement, on Facebook, post on any Goodreads, any of the things that you do. I would love to just see your journey of living each day as the best day ever being documented in some way. Also, we have a Facebook group so that we can support one another in living our lives from this intention. If you need any additional support, I am available for that. I have other practitioners and ministers that are also available to support you. So if I am not the best person, if you feel like you like the idea of this movement, but you're not actually interested in getting support from me, I have some other practitioners and ministers that may be a better fit for you as well. So just DM me, say I'd like some support, tell me if you want it to be me, tell me if you want suggestions for other people, and I will provide that as well. And our next Spirit Uncensored event is dedicated to this. It is called Living Our Best Quarantine Lives. And my cousins and I, Cece Green, Ashley Kelly, and Charlene Hawkins, we all live very different lives. Oh, I'm dropping my headphones. I got it. So my cousins and I live very different lives. I am married, single. One of my cousins, Ashley, is married, heterosexual, and has a toddler at home. My cousin Cece is a single mom with a 7-year-old, and Charlene is a essential worker as a news producer. So we'll all be talking about how we are living our best life. Hey, Universal Spirit Center, love that you're here in San Diego. Audra Nicole, who is one of our practitioners at Spirit Uncensored, is familiar with Universal Spirit Center. She came out of San Diego, so I love that you're here. So the hashtag Best Day Ever movement, we have all kinds of activities like the Spirit Uncensored event on January 10th, like the Facebook group, lots of ways to support you in this journey, and feel free to DM me with any questions that you have at all. You can ask them in the Facebook group or message me privately with any questions. We are here to support you. I think that's all I have to say for today. Happy New Year, and let's let this year be the best year ever. Namaste.